Rotation, rotation, rotation. That is what will keep our bull market healthy and strong and sustain longer term health. And we're seeing rotation. We saw it since the whack day from the what do you call it? Sneak peek, whatever it was, deep seek. Um, the software has been dominating. And the Mag 7 has kind of taken a back seat. But anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. I just want to point out, the Nasdaq was up 99 or call it 100 points, 0.51%, close at 19,000, call it 792, 13% below, once again below average 50-day volume here. The volume was pretty heavy during the holidays, surprisingly so. And then now it's kind of tailed off in January and February. But anyway, the Nasdaq is still in this chopping market, trying to, break out of this chop at 20,204 that it made on December 16th. It's still chopping around this base here, which is fine. There's still a lot of tradable stocks, a lot of opportunities within this chop session. It's not going straight down. There's no opportunities. Today, we had quite a few more stocks that acted well. I'll get to that in a minute. But you can see the Nasdaq now is 1% above its 50 and 0.8% above the 21 and above the 10 as well. So you're seeing these three moving averages all within what, 0.3% of each other, oh 07 to 10, which just indicates kind of tight trading. And I think eventually this is going to break out of it. It's going to take out that 20,204. The question is which day? You want to take a pick? You know, um, February, what, 22nd? That works for me. How about that? Today is February 6th, by the way. Um, in the Nasdaq. I want to point out, it's bullish because it's closing strong. I mentioned this yesterday, how we're seeing these strong closes this week. Today, you could see this, ramping into the close. Yesterday, sold off in the morning, then finished strong. Here you can see a nice strong close on Monday or Tuesday, right? Or this is Monday here. Kind of a weak close. That was the very weak open. That was the tariff day. Remember that? Seems like an eternity ago. Let me go to the 10-minute chart so we could pick that up. Yeah, this is the open on Monday when the threatened tariff, the world's coming to an end. I think the Nasdaq opened down, I don't know, 400 or 500 points, and then just rallied into the close. So we're seeing a lot of this strong closing action, which is bullish for the market. I'm going to go to the SPY here. SPY is looking healthy as well. You can see it's still in the sideways chop. Pattern rec is picking up this flat base that the SPY is currently in. This one closed 1.3% above the 50 and 1% above the 21. So a little stronger than the Nasdaq in terms of moving average. Still has to take out that 610.78. Or if you want to take a look at the the S&P 500 index and not the SPY, that would be 6,128. Today it closes 6,083. So not too far away for the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 looks real strong. All right, I guess I'll go to the IWM. What the heck? IWM down today, rejected there at the 50, and then the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I wasn't going to show this, but yeah, just down today a little bit. So the Nasdaq was the winner of the day. I'm going to get to stocks because we like to trade stocks, and we're right in the heart of earnings season, and we're seeing a lot of big moves one way or the other. Due to I don't know, Reg FD from 2000. I mean, so they're not able to give you the wink and the nod of how the market or how their business is going. So we don't get run-ups into earnings reports. We just kind of get the data and then it's surprise, it goes one way or the other. And we've seen both ends here this week and even today. This is Eli Lilly. Nice report. 45% sales growth for a company this size. I got a lot of questions about Lilly. This is just kind of a long-term hold. I mean, this is not one, to me, it's just in a base here. Yeah, it's below its moving averages, but if you look at this long term, this thing is just a monster going higher. I believe it's going to be the first $1 trillion drug company. Right here, it's at 826 billion. So this is just one that you put away in your retirement portfolio. Don't try to trade it too much and just collect the dividends. That's the type of stock I believe it is. Anyway, Honeywell reported today they're going to split. They announced it earlier. They're going to split into three different companies, kind of like GE did, and it worked for GE. But they announced that before earnings, and then earnings came and they guided lower, and you couldn't pull the wool over the eyes of Wall Street. They were on to the tricks of Honeywell. And they got kind of hammered here, down nearly 6% on their earnings report, and not on splitting into three companies. TPR, this is Tapestry. Now they were rejected by Dr. No of their overtures towards Michael Kors or Capri, which they wanted to buy, and then Dr. No said no, which she always did, and the stock didn't do anything for a long time. But then once the bid was rejected, and then Capri and Tapestry said we're no longer going to pursue, the deal, this thing has taken off like a rocket ship. So Dr. No did Tapestry a favor. Today they reported earnings. This thing was up 12%, with 200% above average daily volume. I'm not going to put that in my gap because it's already extended. It's way extended from a base. And you can see how it closed today. Anyway, it's closed near the low of its range, 11%, but still a nice day. On the earnings report from Tapestry. Peloton, Peloton, 2020 darling, and thought it was going out of business, but it's actually made a decent comeback. Not just your coat rack or a hanger for your dirty clothes, but you can see here that it's rallied off its lows, pulled back, and now this week it's up what, nearly 10%. Nice 12% move today. So there's your undercut of the 50. Tried to rally back above it. Close at 19% of its daily range. Yeah, 6% below the 50. So that would be a rejection at the moving average. Hershey, cocoa prices are sky high right now, but they had a report and was up 4%. This is just kind of like your old dividend play, I don't know, they used to call them widows and orphans stocks. I don't know if I could say that anymore, if that's politically correct, but longer term, you just collect your dividends. And it's the lowest industry group out of 197. Food confectionery is 197. What, nobody eats sweets anymore? What the heck's going on? Could have to do with the price of cocoa. I don't know. Bristol Myers, this dog just will not hunt. I know it's consolidated in a base here. It looks pretty good. Trading tight near its moving averages and just falls out 4%. They need to buy another company. I don't know which one they're going to buy. Uh, but they need some growth here. They're really struggling. And man, every time they report, it's just the same thing. Once again, look at this month. They just gotten absolutely nowhere in the last 25 years. Yeah, it was $74. We'll call it on the low spot here, 59. Back in 2000, 25 years later, still 57. I mean, just pays a decent dividend, but man, zero appreciation. So they really need to buy something. MT, this is a steel company. Now, this is going on our gap list. Why? Well, it gapped up 11%, 321% above average daily volume out of this stage one base. This is a thing of beauty and something not to be ignored. The group is real weak, but that could change in the next few weeks or months. So definitely an obvious breakout from a stage one base here. That looks really good to these old eyes. So keep your eyes peeled on MT and the steel group. Roblox reported today, and this is the kind of company I just really have a hard time getting my head around. That you cannot deny the success of the stock. This thing's been on a heater since this breakout here back on Halloween. It was trading what at 48 bucks. Yesterday it closed at 75. That's a nice move. Today it just pulled back to its 50, bounced and closed near the 91% of the daily range. So that's a nice close. The low is 60, close at 67. but they're losing money, and they went down today based on their daily average users, and that was part of the problem with Reddit today. Reddit was initiated coverage as a hold. That was part of its problem, but it also, got tied up with this Roblox thing where it's being based on average users. I think Reddit's going to blow the roof off when they report on the 12th, which is what, next Wednesday, maybe. Yeah, just based on, yeah, I just think they're going to have a good report. And any pullback here, it's being supported. Reddit's a monster. And so you got lucky today on the pullback, as I digress here, for Reddit here at the open, which came down to what, 208 or something, tried to fill that gap, 209, and just rallied into the close. That might be your one day to get Reddit. Maybe it'll pull back to the 10, back around, what is that, $205. I don't know. It's got, like I mentioned, that gap there, 208.62, darn near closed that today. It didn't though. I think 209 was the low. Yeah. Okay. Something to watch for with Reddit. But anyway, I digress. And I wanted to get to the smokers tobacco. Actually, what was working for PM Philip Morris was their smokeless tobacco. I kind of went on their website and knocked around a little bit and see where their growth was, and it was smokeless tobacco. And I don't know if that's chewing tobacco or what they're doing now, but they're getting people hooked on nicotine somehow. And I gapped out of a base here, double bottom base essentially. 11% move with that kind of volume. So that is definitely on our gappers list as well. We had two of them today, PM and MT. So write those ones down. I'll be making another video this weekend, or I'll just include it with the video this weekend. But anyway, Philip Moore's breaking out of this, stage one base. And I got questions about, stages of bases. And I'm going to include this in the video, but anytime, there's a base here, you can see a base and it undercut the prior base. Anytime a base undercuts a prior base, you have to start a new base count. And that's what happened here with Philip Morris. And I'll get into it more and I'll describe in detail, but you can see the low of the prior base was 117.53, and this new base, the low is 116. So the base count starts over, and that's why that's a stage one base. Anyway, I got to move on here. Not to be confused with Weinstein's four stages of bases. Anyway, other tobacco companies, Turning Point Brands. Yeah, this has got to just saying here, this thing looks nice, right? Trading tight within a base, and this thing popped nearly 9% today. You got the blue dot here indicating strength with the RS line going through the average S&P average line. So that is showing massive strength there for Turning Point Brands. Let's see what this looks like on a weekly. Oh man, this thing's had a huge move. So that is a later stage base here for Turning Point Brand, manufacturers, tobacco, snuff. Okay, I guess like Levi Garrett and Red Man, whatever. I don't even know if they have that stuff anymore. I used to do that in college, but those days are long past. Philip Morris, a parent company, I guess, is Altria. And, they kind of got a little bit of a boost, not much though. Rejected at the 50 here, right? Philip Morris, and this is the Marlboro name. Okay, I'm going to move on because that's not really my thing. But what is my thing is CrowdStrike. And software we saw on that whack day, was it Monday of last week? Not the tariff day, but the DeepSeek day. That's when the rotation started out of the energy and the hyperscalers and into software names. And man, CrowdStrike has just been a monster. We've had this on our ready list for a while as it broke above the downtrend line. We had an early entry point. I forget that it was a couple weeks ago. I upgraded the buy point to 389 because I want people in this darn thing. And even though it had this breakout here, this kind of failed breakout, I wouldn't call it a failed breakout. It just broke out and then returned to that pivot point on our tariff Monday, which was the third. It came down to 384. So that was a blessing or a gift or a break or an opportunity. And then since then, what was it down to on Monday? 384, closed it at 420. Thank you very much. We'll take a 36-point move anytime, and it's up after hours. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. So the software names are the place to be. I tried to put, a few of them on the ready list. I don't want to just load it all up with software names, but there's a lot of opportunities in software and internet names, and I'm going to get to those in a minute. But definitely that is one. GoDaddy is another one of these. The problem with GoDaddy is that they're reporting here next week, next Thursday. So if you get in now, if you don't own it, I mean, this thing looks fantastic. Nice bull wedge pattern here, pulling back to moving average, on decreasing volume, consolidating within a base, a stage two base. I don't know for how many weeks, 6 weeks. So that's enough flat base pattern. Just I think this thing's going to go higher. It's probably going to need the earnings catalyst. So you got to like flip a coin. So that's kind of tough because it could fall out on an earnings report. We've definitely seen that. So no guarantees if you don't own it. It's pretty tough buying into earnings. But some people like the thrill of the chase, adrenaline junkies. That's fine. Snowflake is another one set up here in a stage one base is trying to break out. Now one, it formed like a handle, and like I said, the traditional handle is like 5 days. So it came up to the buy point at 186.90, and it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's been 7 days. So this thing's ready to pop at any moment, I believe. Um, that's just my opinion here. And this is all for me. This is all just a stage one base right here. 234, 237. Yeah. It's made that bottom and now it's got this, 7 week base here. So I don't know. I think Snowflake's going to move higher. Once again, they don't report till the end of the month. You really have to know when your stocks are reporting. Palantir reported early in the week and it gapped higher, pulled back one day, and now, this looks like a short squeeze here on Palantir. A nice 10% move on top of that move on Tuesday. 24% move, then pullback, like $2, and now off to the races again. So let's see what this looks like on our weekly chart. Yeah, just breaking out of this little consolidation pattern up 35% this week. Looks like it wants more after hours, and that's part of the software names that are reporting tonight. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. I just want to include Netflix in this group. I didn't, want to create a whole, movie leisure group, but this is the king of streaming. This one gapped higher. It was on our gap list. Um, what day was this? It ran up prior to earnings, and then earnings it went up nearly 10% with that, more than 300% above average volume, and then it formed this little shelf type pattern. So I thought, man, that high of 990 or whatever it was, if it breaks above that, that's blue skies, and it did earlier this week. What was the high there? 999. So, just give it a buck more, 1,000, and now it's $15 above there, up after hours as well. So that one still looks good. And I would say that's still actionable. $15 on $1,000 stock is, not that big of a deal. What, 1.5%? All right, let's move on. I've got Bros, the restaurant. Food names are doing pretty well. We know that Bros is eating Starbucks' lunch, and since Starbucks reported, Starbucks had a nice strong move. But Bros was up 3% today. I had to trim some today. This is just getting out of hand. Um, I trimmed a third of what I had, so it's just they start getting too big in your portfolio, and until they pull back, it makes a bigger impact. I don't want that. But this stock was up 3% with 22% above average daily volume. But you can see right there, it's 6.7% above the 10 and 10% above the 21. So, just let these lines catch up, the moving averages. I like Bros, but it needs to pull back for me a little bit. And I still own it, but I had to trim some today. It still looks fantastic. They say let your winners run. So don't be a scaredy cat. But yeah, I trimmed some. This is a DRI. Had that 189.18 buy point. I didn't have it on the ready list because I'm a dummy, but just right through there, this little box here, it was nice, convenient after its breakout. This is on our gapper list as well. And now it's just ripping higher and getting support at the 10. And that's what you look for, on these pullback days. It gives you an opportunity, but now, it's 5% above the 21. So just screaming higher. And we'll see if 200, the 200 level gives that one a little bit of resistance. But Darden is, the Olive Garden family, whatever, owner. And yeah, doing great. All right, I mentioned food, and you can't go to Costco without $1.50 hot dogs. This one broke out of a base, cup shape pattern, no handle, just wants higher prices. Sprouts Farmers Market looks pretty similar, cup, no handle, just wants higher prices, 170 after hours. That one looks good. And then Walmart, a lot of people buy their food at Walmart, and this one broke out and just moving higher. It's now above that 100 level. It went through 100 like poop through a goose. Walmart looking fantastic. All right, I'm going to move on to the bank stocks. JP Morgan making new highs. I mean, these charts are self-explanatory. Yeah, when you see them, they're just really popping here. Charles Schwab, another one, making new highs today. FRHC, this is the Borat stock from Kazakhstan. I mean, this thing's on a heater, man. Just big moves in the banks. I know a lot of, swing traders and growth stock traders don't like the banks too much, but you cannot deny the strength in these things. They are looking fantastic. And then the one I showed yesterday, I believe they reported, broke out of the base here, 7% move with volume, closed at 79% of its daily range, and then made a new high today. So, you cannot deny the strength in these. And I could go through a bunch more, but I'm not going to. I'm going to spare you. I have another group to get to, and this is my boomer trade, where the boomers they're out and about, they're traveling, they're booking online, they're staying at hotels, they're booking airline flights, they're booking hotels, they're booking cruises. And so this is all being reflected in these stocks here. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. They're taking money out of their nest eggs or 401ks or whatever, and they have to take distributions at what, 72 years of age. I'm not there yet, thank goodness. But you have to take money out. So, they take it out and spend it. The kids are doing fine. They don't need to help their kids. So, man, Marriott International, I believe they report when, the 11th, next Tuesday. But man, breaking out of a base here, that is undeniable strength. Um, yeah, blue dot here. You got the volume coming in on the weekly. The Marriott looks fantastic. I think one of these other ones reported today. It might have been Hilton, April 30th. I don't know. They reported recently. I think it might have been today. Anyway, a nice 5% move with massive volume. That does look like an earnings report for Hilton. I was kind of busy today, so I didn't get a chance to go through all this data. Wyndham, another, making new highs. So the leisure lodging group, which is 46 out of 197, is certain to climb as these stocks are doing really well. And so I got to go, since I go to the hotel, I got to go to the cruise lines, right? And this one's still setting up in a base, finding support at its 10 EMA. This is Carnival Cruise Line. RCL is Royal Caribbean. This is kind of the big kahuna of the group. 72 billion market cap. And this one pulled back to the 10, found support. Norwegian Cruise Line, these are all trading near highs. If I go to the weekly, that actually looks like a beautiful setup here. Yeah, that looks good. Only 3.5% off of its high. Norwegian, this one could end up on our ready list here. Yeah, even though it's a later stage base, I don't care about that. Yeah, this one looks good. We can give that thing around $28. Finding support at the 10, trading tight enough to the 10 was at 1.7%. So that one I like. And then Viking I like, but this one's getting extended as well. You can see it broke out and is not looking back. Yeah, 5% move on the 17th, and now just 4.5% above the 10. So those stocks are showing strength. You can't tell me the boomers aren't contributing to this. United Airlines, of course, they got to book a flight, right? They're not going on a cruise or booking a flight, booking hotels. United looks pretty good. Alaska Airlines, near highs. These things are, yeah, 2% off its highs, up 1.5% this week. The Transportation Airline Group is number two out of 197. So a very strong group. And then, of course, you got to use something to book. So you go to TravelZoo and book your vacation. TravelZoo, I don't know if that was an earnings move today, but no, they report on the 27th. But man, that's a nice move off the bottom there just a couple days ago on that tariff day. What, Monday came in and dropped it down to 18.59, and today closed at 22.88. So that's a strong move for the week. Let's see what we look like here on the week. Yeah, 15% just weekly move. You can see that blue dot here showing strength. So anyway, that's it for me. I'm trying to keep these videos a little tighter, but I have trouble doing that because I get excited about looking at all these stocks and I want to show, strength in the market where there are possibilities. So don't buy into, it's just a choppy market. The market sucks. I can't win. Yes, we can win. And I've got a lot of good stocks here. I've been having a real nice stock selection here for the last month or so during this choppy session. I've been proud of myself. How about Expedia? I just talked about these leisure travel booking stocks. After hours, they reported. I didn't get to see the report, but nice reaction thus far, up 9%. We'll have to see how that plays out tomorrow. You can never take, after hours, sometimes, they follow through and the next day they fall apart, so you don't know. It's like a coin flip. Take-Two Interactive up 7%. This is a gaming stock. So I kind of like this, software. Internet name, since I mentioned internet, Pinterest reported up 18% after hours. There's internet content stock, it goes by eyeballs, users. And so I think that's going to help Reddit tomorrow. I'm always thinking about pin action instead of just the stock itself. What group is it in? This is a Fortinet up more than 8% after hours. I think that could not help but help Zscaler, which is up after hours, Palo Alto Networks, which is up after hours, and CrowdStrike. If you own CrowdStrike, up percent after hours. And if you don't know it's CrowdStrike, what the hell's the matter with you? All right, I'm just kidding. Okay, now an area of weakness is the consumer. There's no doubt about it. We've seen a real hit in these shoe stocks. We saw it with Deckers. Now we're seeing it with Skechers. So that does not bode well for On Holdings or Crocs. Yeah, Skechers had a really weak report, missed on sales, missed on earnings. It looks like Crocs has already been taken to the woodshed, but just pointing out that these stocks are weak. Elf, the CEO said that any tariffs would be passed along to consumers. They missed on revenues. They missed on earnings, and they guided lower, so they hit the trifecta, the hat trick for Elf Beauty. And when stocks climb that mountain, which Elf did, this is we talk about Weinstein's stages of base, and I'm going to explain the difference between IBD's stages and Weinstein. Weinstein just talks about four stages. He talks about the base stage, the stage one, and then the incline, the appreciation stage, which is stage two, and then you have your topping stage where it can't appreciate anymore, even though a good solid earnings report, it just can't make any highs. This one had like a double top. And then you had stage four, which is the decline stage. And you don't want to own a stock in a decline stage because you don't know how low it's going to go or where this is going to stop. This thing could go down. We know companies have gone out of business, and Celsius is kind of the same thing where it had this incline and then it had this double top pattern and hit stage four decline, and Celsius is on its way down. So you don't want to, hold and hope and think these things are going to come back. And just the whole, I got to go back to Elf, the fragrance group, which Target said was an area of strength, but definitely, we've seen it with Estee Lauder. I mean, this thing's in a stage four decline, and Elf, and just, that's why you have to know where to be in the market. I just Normally in afternoons, I just show where the strength is. I don't even look at these things because I think it's bad for my morale to see people because people own these stocks, and they're getting hurt, they're getting beat up, and they think they're going to come back, but there's no guarantee these stocks are going to come back. All right. I got to go into more depressing news here. This is Bill. This is a computer software financial name. This thing's getting hammered. This is a nice, let's say all these stock setups. I had this on my list this week. I didn't put it on because of the earnings report, but you can see this is a nice cup-shaped pattern, a stage one base, trading tight near its moving average. All the components that I like. It's showing the ability to move quickly, move rapidly, move higher, and this thing's getting a 30% haircut after hours. So, yeah, that might impact maybe something like four's down after hours of TOST. Yeah, well, we'll see. God, that looks nice too. But yeah, earnings next week, or when is it? The 19th? Anyway, I digress. I'm just I'm just BSing right now. Cloudflare up, this is another software name up by 12% after hours. This is more of it says software enterprise, but it's more of a software security name. Like, it's in that, let's go to the weekly. Yeah, okay, you give it the Palantir. Twilio Group, KD. We'll see if those ones are moving after hours. KD's been on a tear. Up, you saw 13% this week. We know what Palantir is doing. So anyway, always looking for pin action in other stocks. A firm reported up 12% after hours, man. So this one's consolidating in a base, undercut the 50. Now it's going to rally through. That looks fantastic. That 68.20 would definitely be an area of interest as it trades. It's going to break above this downtrending line tomorrow, right? Right there. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to make that big move at that 68.20 area. It looks like anyway tomorrow. So that'd be an area of interest for me. And I think that's it for all these after hours. Oh, that's right. We have one more in honor of the great Steve Jobs. One more thing. Everybody wants to know about Amazon, and it's been on a real roll here, since 168, 180, 183, 195, 216 continues to make higher lows, right? This stock has been on a real, heater and finding support at the moving averages. So, they report tonight. They reported a fine quarter. Nothing wrong with the quarter. It's just they guide lower, which is, typical sandbagging. We'll see. It's got, I think, possibly support at 233 and definitely at 220. So if it pulls back that far, that would be an area to buy. Probably. Let's take a look here at the 50. Today, the 50 was at 224.82, 224. It's going up nearly a buck a day. So we'll call it 226 tomorrow. If it goes down to the 21, maybe it'll find support and bounce there. That was a really nice report. It's just, they guided lower, and that's what companies do. They sandbag. But this thing is hitting on all cylinders. Nice margins. Yeah, I mean, this is a behemoth. We've seen, though, like I mentioned earlier, the rotation out of the Magnificent Seven stocks. And when you're trading out of these $3 trillion, $1 to $3 trillion stocks, it doesn't take much to move a $20 billion market cap stock. This is Tesla, and this thing is not looking too good. Neither is Apple. I keep showing you Microsoft. They hate looking at this chart. It's just ugh. So it doesn't take much to sell, some of these Mag 7 at 2.3 trillion to move some of these smaller stocks. All Google did was pull back to its 50. That looks fine at 190. But they're selling these Mag 7 stocks to buy some other names just to move some money around and keep the bull market healthy. And I'm sure they'll come back to the Mag 7s. And anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. And I'm looking for a rebound in Amazon tomorrow. Anyway. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Have a great evening.